That last one hurt my brain. Today I will be answering your guys' questions about space. This is the first time I'm doing this, so if you want your questions to be part of the next episode of this, leave them down in the comments below. Alright, and the first question is, why does the sun appear so high in the sky? I understand that this question is probably dumb and there's a very obvious answer, so please don't clown me. But if the sun and the earth are in a relatively straight line, why does the sun appear closer to the horizon instead of so high up in the sky? Is it because of the distance of the axial tilt of the earth or something else? Hope this question makes sense. Okay, so a couple things here. If you're just basing the earth and the sun, no matter where they are, that's gonna be a straight line. But so I'm just gonna kind of ignore that. But if we're talking about the position of the sun in the sky, like whether it's low on the horizon or whether it goes like right above us, almost like zenith, it depends. It really depends. And so the biggest thing that depends on this is where you are on Earth. So if you're on the equator, the sun is going to go like directly over top of you. But if you're up northern in the hemisphere, as an example, where I am right now, it's not going to go as high. And so it really depends where you are. So by the sounds of you making this question, you're probably at one of the extremes on the hemispheres, whether that's north or south, and so you're not seeing the sun right above you, you're seeing it lower on the horizon. So hopefully that answers your question. Or the next question we have is, what would cause the earth to become uninhabitable / barren in the year 2134? So if we think about a lot of different scientific humans are going to be what will make Earth barren. And so it's very prevalent. Everyone knows this. It's just whether you listen to it or not. We need to protect the environment. We need to protect Earth. Pollution and climate change and everything that we're doing to the Earth is what's going to cause it to become barren very, very soon. Possibly even within our lifetime, we could be getting into some serious catastrophes on Earth. And people need to start understanding that when we talk about the environment and when we talk about climate change, yes, climate change is inevitable. It is the natural cycle of the Earth. What the problem is that humans and pollution have escalated that process and made it happen quicker. We have seen faster rates of climate change in the past decades, centuries, than what should normally happen in millennia on Earth. So we are making it happen so much faster, which is what is scary about climate change. And so what is going to cause the Earth to be basically uninhabitable? Us. And there's a chance that could happen within our lifetime if we don't fix it. Alright, so next up is, do you think that Earth's gravity is too strong? 9.81 meters per second squared is a bit too high. Falling off a building will only take a single second until you reach the ground and die. Even if you just tripped and hit your head, you might die. That's not grammar. But no, I kind of like the gravity here on Earth. It means that we can function and live. Kind of an interesting question, but no, I like our gravity. 9.81. It's what a great number. Is the sun solid? So I have this sci-fi idea for a mega weapon that flies through the sun to reload its planet-sized ballistic ammunition. The question is though, if a spaceship was able to withstand the temperatures, would it be possible for it to drive through the sun? Okay, see, that's a very interesting question, and I do like it. And so we know that the sun is incredibly hot, and it changes. It can be so much more depending on where you are around the sun. And so it's very difficult. We obviously can't touch the surface or get anywhere near close to it because of how hot it is. But if, say, we are able to withstand the temperature, would we physically be able to go through it? So the sun, in a kind of a summary sense, the gist of the sun is that it's just gas. All it is gas, mostly hydrogen and a bit of helium as a byproduct. But the reason why you would not be able to go through the sun is because of the pressure. And so that is actually what causes stars to be stars, is that you see these star forming regions, these nebulas of a lot of gas, and it basically snowballs effects and keeps getting bigger until eventually it is so large that the gravitational pull on everything the pressure is so heavy that fusion happens, nuclear fusion, where hydrogen is being compressed so much that it actually starts being compressed, and then that in turn creates helium and energy, and that energy is so massive, and it is kind of like the fire that you're seeing, is all that heat and that byproduct. And so there's so much pressure happening inside of a star that it is causing atoms to be manipulated. And so if single atoms are being compressed, I cannot imagine the effect that a human or a spaceship would feel if it went through that same pressure. That would just be so much. And so no, I would say you can't go through the sun. But a very good question. Hey, did anyone ever think of this? So everyone always says that there are no aliens because we can't see them, right? There would be signs, but no one ever mentions that light takes time to travel. Light travels fast, but those places are still millions of light years away. There may be life, but we just can't see it because the light hasn't reached us yet. This isn't... Okay, so first off, this isn't really a question, but also it is very thought-provoking and I love it. When we talk about the search for extraterrestrial life, for aliens out there, beings outside of humans, we need to throw away everything that we know on Earth. And one of that is our perception of time and distance. And I love that you brought this up because not a lot of people do think of this. Which, yes, if there was a planet that is so distant away from us, like even let's say on the other side of the Milky Way, it doesn't even have to be outside of our own galaxy. The light has taken so long to get to us that it just wouldn't see anything. You can think of it, if you don't know what light years are, light years is actually a measure of distance and not time. And so you can think of it that, say there was a planet that was 200 light years away. If we were on that planet and we were looking at Earth, the light that we're seeing would be humanity 200 years ago, so before cars and before electricity. And so that would be the light that planet is seeing, because that's how long it has taken it to get there. And so if we're talking about things that are millions of light years away, yes, there is a very good chance that we just haven't seen them yet because light hasn't made it to us. But if we are there at that moment, that actual moment, then there could be something there. But also, this is where we have to throw away how we know of life on Earth. And so our conception of life is this. This is what we know of life. Animals, humans, plants, all these type of species of life. This is how we know life functions. It follows the basic principles: food, water, shelter, heat. All this knowledge of how life works on Earth, we have to throw away, because on a different planet, it may not work the same. We don't know that life is uniform across the entire universe. And so if we are looking at something, there is also a chance that we are looking at life, but we just don't know how to perceive it. And so there's something to think about. All right, we have another question about how light and time work. So, it's a fact that light travels, meaning information from a faraway place or galaxy would take time to reach Earth, correct? Now the question, if hypothetically, I like hypothetical ones because you can think about whatever. If hypothetically, I were to be teleported enough light years away to see the start of the Roman Empire, ooh, what a great time, then immediately after teleported back to Earth, would I A, be pulverized, B, be sent back to the exact same time I was teleported, C, be teleported to the image I saw in the far away Earth, and kind of the start of the Roman Empire is when he would be teleported, or D, sent back in the far future? So, if we're talking hypothetically, then my answer to this is yes. But we want an actual answer. And so, okay, we'll dive into this a little bit. So if we are talking about our knowledge of how matter works, then answer A, being pulverized, would be the correct answer, because there is no foreseeable way that we could teleport humans and teleport matter. Like, the thought of how many atoms and building blocks it takes in order to make a functioning human, and you are trying to break that apart, turn it into some other form, whether that be light waves, radiation waves, something like that, teleport it somewhere, move it in a data format, and then turn that data back into physical matter. It just wouldn't work. And so you would be pulverized probably in whatever teleporter machine that you've created. But again, this is hypothetical, and so that's why I like this. So if hypothetically we can say, here, we'll snap and we will appear somewhere else, there is no harm on humans, even if we have to break the laws of physics, it is okay, we are teleporting. I like it. And so if we travel to that planet and we look back and we see the Roman Empire, cool, that is how far away that is. I don't know my knowledge of history that well. I think that's thousands of years. And so you're thousands of light years away, and you're looking back at Earth, and so you're seeing the Roman Empire. On Earth, it is not the Roman Empire. Again, we are talking about the data that the light is sending us. And so the data that is currently being sent to that point that you've teleported to is thousands of years old, and more data is just being constantly sent. It's a continuous flow. But where that origin is, in this case the Earth, it is not thousands of years ago. It is still current time. And so that would mean that it would still be this time. So in turn, you would teleport that far away, see the Roman Empire, because that's the data that's currently being sent, and then you would teleport back, again, all this hypothetically, instantaneously, and then you would still be back to basically the same time that you were first teleported. It all depends on how long you stayed at that other planet. And so that would be basically answer B, of you would come back at the same time. If you just went there, looked, and went back, you would just be a couple seconds later the time it took you to actually be on that other planet. A very good question. All right, so now we're getting into the really fun stuff. Black holes and all this deep space stuff is the stuff that I really like. And so this question is, what if stuff that falls into black holes comes out at the Big Bang? What if the other end of a black hole is the Big Bang? And so this is very interesting, and realistically, we cannot give you a correct answer. Science hasn't found out how black holes fully function, how they work, and we only have our limited knowledge of the universe. And so I do appreciate that you're sticking with the theory of the Big Bang, because that's what I personally believe in. But you're thinking of black holes in the sense of them being almost like a time warp, or a wormhole of sorts, and where it is not when you go into a black hole, it is almost like a gateway into another realm or another kind of dimension or universe, a multiverse. You're thinking of it in that way, in which, if you're thinking in that way, I guess theoretically it could. We don't know. But I would say most likely not, even in that theoretical sense that you're attesting to. I don't think that would still work out very well, because it would still be kind of a gateway and not an expanding point. But with what we know of how black holes work right now, they are not a gateway. They are an actual physical object. So what a black hole is the remnants of the death of a very massive star, multiple tens of times more massive than our sun. And when those explode, they cause supernovas, which are the most energetic explosions and events in the universe. And these explosions can leave behind either a neutron star or a black hole. And a black hole is, the way to think of it, is an infinitesimally small point that has infinitesimally large mass. So basically, an infinitely small dot that you can't see. It's just this little tiny spot that we're calling a singularity. This little spot has an infinite amount of mass. So much mass that light itself can't actually escape the gravitational pull of it. And so when you're looking at a black hole, you aren't actually looking at the singularity fully. You're not actually seeing it's hard because you're not actually seeing black holes, because in the sense black holes are nothing, and what you're seeing is the event horizon. And so that is the circular black shape that you see. That is the point where the gravitational force is so strong that light can't escape it. On the outside of that point, light is fast enough that it can escape it. The gravitational strength at that distance away from the singularity is small enough that light can still travel away from it. But inside of it, the gravitational pull is strong enough that light is sucked in as well and can't escape. So there is, we believe, again, this is all we believe, there is that singularity inside where it is a physical point, not a gateway. But I do like you hypothesizing all this kind of stuff and really thinking about it. I like it. Keep thinking. All right, so here's a question that will keep you up at night. What existed before everything? Like before the Big Bang happened? Was there even anything that existed? Or was Big Bang the beginning of everything? If yes, then why did Big Bang occur in the first place? And who made it occur? Or did it just happen by itself? And so the Big Bang is one theory of how the universe began. Roughly 13.8 billion years ago, there was a singular point, or possibly even a singularity, but there was an explosion at this point that created the universe. And everything that we know today started from that point. We don't know where that point is. That's one of the things we're trying to find, is where the universe started. But that point exploded and everything was created that we know. And we know that the universe is expanding, so it's actually speeding up. It's been expanding for the last over 13, almost 14 billion years, and now it's actually speeding up and getting faster away. And I'm talking about this because this is one theory of how the universe could have started. And so if we know that the universe is expanding, there are a few different outcomes that could happen. There are three really main ones. One, the universe will continue to expand, and it will keep expanding, and it will keep expanding, and it will keep expanding. And if this happens, eventually, if the Earth wouldn't be around at that point, but if the Earth was still around at a certain point, we would look up and we wouldn't see anything in the sky. We would be completely alone. And so that is one way that the universe could continue to live, is that it will keep expanding until everything is so far away that it is expanding faster than the light can travel to us, and so we are alone. Again, the Earth won't live that long, but still. The other thought is that it will expand and actually get faster. It will keep accelerating, get faster and faster into something called the Big Rip, or Great Rip. I forget what the actual name is. But basically, it's going to expand fast enough that space-time and the universe itself rips. And what that entails, who knows, but that would be horrifying, because it would kind of break all laws of physics that we know. Everything would be destroyed. It would be an insane event to occur. And then the other thought is that it is expanding right now, but eventually it will slow down and it will come and collapse back in. And so if it collapses back in, at some point, it all has to collapse to a single point. And then what happens? One thought is that it will create an even bigger Big Bang and a new universe will begin. And so one theory of where the Big Bang comes from would be that it was a previous universe that had collapsed already. And so it collapsed, created a Big Bang, and we are currently living in that Big Bang, whatever Big Bang number that is. But either way, we don't fully know how the universe began, and even with that theory of the universe keeps expanding, collapsing, and all that, what is space? Where is this event happening? How can there be infinity? How is there no end? And if there was an end, what's on the outside of that end? And how does time work? Was there a beginning? Is there an end? Or is time infinite? But if it's infinite, how could it have started? And so those deeper questions of who and what made it happen in the first place, it is impossible to answer right now because we don't know. Everything that we know about revolves around time. And for something to just have always existed breaks what we know and can perceive of time, unless there is multiple dimensions. But again, there has to be an origin at some point, and we don't know how something could have started from nothing and what the nothing would have been. Because again, even if we're talking about, well, before the Big Bang, there was just nothing. Or if you're religious and you say that a God created the universe, what was that God in? What was before that? We can't perceive it as humans because we just know, hey, we have this container, there is nothing here, we drop something in it, now there's something. And if we think of that as the universe, what is that container and what is on the outside of that container? And so, that is a very deep way to answer that question, but we don't know. But a good theory right now is that the universe keeps expanding, coming, and collapsing. I like that theory a lot. So thank you for that question, and we will probably both be having an existential crisis for the next little while after talking about this. Alright, so that was your guys' questions about space and everything that it entails. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. This is a little bit of a different video than I've done before. Again, if you want your questions to be featured in the next episode, leave them in the comments and I will pick some to be in the next episode. And also let me know how you guys like this. Do you like this kind of sit down and talk style, this almost YouTube show style? But hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please leave a like and comment and do all that stuff. It really helps me out. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.